All right, have not fans. Now, I was having a very good discussion with Candace T, Candace Tattoo. I mean, I affectionately call her Candace T. That way, I do, I separate her from Candace Young. We typically talk on Facebook. We used to do some live streams together. Back when I first started doing live streams on YouTube, I would have people call in, but then the volume sucked, so that couldn't really work with that. But she brought up a very good point, and let me just put it this way. But besides the episode review and trailer breakdown and whatnot that will come on the channel within the next 24 to 48 hours here, there are going to be probably a string of videos where it sounds like I'm giving up on the show. That is not the case whatsoever. But it's just one of those things where if you've been on this channel long enough, or even for newer viewers who tune in for some of my more recent videos, you know that even though this channel is about the haves and the have-nots, the fact that I love the haves and the have-nots, the fact I've been watching since episode 1 and will continue to watch until the end of the series, whenever that may be, it's not a perfect show. It's not where it was quality-wise when it first came out during the first few seasons. And a lot of flaws have become more apparent because I feel like there's even more uproar amongst fans. Like, it's one thing to go to the comment section on the OWN or Facebook official pages and they post clips or recaps, on those Facebook pages, and you go to the comment section and you read comments from people who just complain. Some of them are so ignorant because they complain about one thing, like, about this particular character, but you can tell those are people who probably, well, a lot of people literally straight up said, I stopped watching years ago, which is kind of funny how if you stop watching, you took the time to comment on a recent have and have not clip, so you're literally missing the context. But Candace and I were talking about, well, Candace actually brought it up. Do you think Tyler Perry knows how to write good villains on his shows? And this is not just for the haves and the have-nots, but If Loving You Is Wrong as well, because I feel like, and it's hard for me to call this a complaint versus a legitimate gripe, if you will, or something that a massive majority of the fans are making noise about because it's something that hasn't really changed and is gotten annoyingly repetitive. And that's the villains in these shows either never get what their comeuppance, or even when it seems like they're finally getting payback or karma's finally knocking on their door, they go right back to who they were before the incident happened. If not, it makes them go even harder against the person that inflicted revenge on them. I guess it's the best way to put it. It's almost like one of those things where it's a kill or be killed mentality where, okay, if I don't kill this person, then they're just going to keep coming back at me, which I think is where David is mentally with Veronica, where he realizes that, okay, one slap and she tried to kill me and she killed Erica. And let's just not even bring up the whole, like, she was just a pawn in an even bigger scheme against David. I mean, she ended up dead, and that literally broke his heart as well as scorched his back, which is something I really don't understand, because I'm pretty sure based off the way David was walking towards the car and when he got blown back to the camera, his back was facing the camera. I mean, shouldn't his front be blown up? Whatever. But in any case, I just feel like Candace is the same way. She's still going after this 8 million. Oh no, now she's going to try to blackmail Catherine. And then we got Broderick and Rocky in the mix. I get it. The show has to continue on. It is a daytime soap opera. But to be honest, I did something that I never even thought I would do. I watched a few episodes of current, well, excuse me, not current, but daytime soap operas. And even remembering back when I was a kid and, when either your parents controlled the TV or your aunts or your grandparents, and they would watch their stories, not the soap operas, but the stories. Or hell, even being in like the dentist office or the hospital and whatnot during the day, visiting people, like family members if you have them. I just remember being younger and watching the soap operas because won't nothing else on. There was story, like I mean, true, you might have like the evil twin and somebody in a coma and somebody getting amnesia and stuff like that, but they did keep it fresh. They kept the plot moving. But with the haves and the have-nots, I don't really know what to say anymore to defend it, except for I've been riding this bus since the beginning, so I'm just going to wait until it gets to the end of the line kind of thing, because last week's episode was good, don't get me wrong, and I'm recording this before the episode Room 3, so my tune might change after watching that episode, but I think I'm really curious to see what Justin's demeanor is going to be like after this ass whooping. I really want to see what's he going to do next. Is he going to try to get revenge? Will he finally calm his ass down? We'll just have to wait and see. But what really gets me is the fact that when we have characters who have been in the show since season 1, and I've said this time and time again, when it comes to like Amanda, after she was killed off, we pretty much got the crazy train moving from Amanda seeping into like Veronica, and then slowly but surely Catherine got a taste of it, Candace got a taste of it, and then it's just the same old thing. And these characters, when they do exhibit personality traits and whatnot that we usually don't see from them, it just comes out of left field. Like, we kind of got to build up to Catherine, you know, killing Jennifer Salison with threats and saying, you know, the mama bear's on the attack and whatnot. But then when it happened and she killed her off, like 3 episodes later, it's like Catherine was, you know, back to normal, so to speak. And with If Loving You Is Wrong, Eddie, like, I was watching the first couple seasons on Hulu last month because I said, oh man, February 27th is going to be here before I know it, so I might as well refresh my memory by going back. And I'm like, you know what, yeah, this show kind of rocky start, but it was entertaining to kind of go back and just watch the episodes for enjoyment rather than watching week by week for, you know, videos and whatnot. So yeah, Eddie was just crazy. But then it got to the point where it's like, okay man, like, we're what, how many seasons in, 4 or 5 or so, and it's still the same old thing. Like Lucien, every time it seemed like Lucien finally, because he literally had to fight the system while in the system in order to get Eddie down for something, and he just magically made his way out of it. I don't know, like, does Tyler Perry have a plan to end these shows at the same time, and then these people finally get what's coming to them? Because I literally don't know how I would feel if people like Candace or Veronica or Jim or Eddie, and I'm just, you know, or Randall or whoever, make it to the very end of the series and they don't get killed off. But like, let's say they don't go to jail, they don't pay for their crimes. Like, trust and believe, if you watch enough Tyler Perry movies, you know for a fact that it's typically the ending or middle or the past the climax of the film where the quote unquote villain goes to jail, or, you know, everybody gets forgiveness because they go to church together and whatnot, and it's a big happy family, which is kind of, you know, well, a movie is only like a couple hours, so I know you have to kind of rush through certain things, but for long running series that have been on the air for over half a decade, it just seems very cheap. And I would hate, do you know how much, and I'm not just speaking for myself here, but I feel like a lot of you can understand why I feel like I would have a lot more disdain than other people, because remember, and nobody made me do this because I wanted to do, like, I quit my job, which I didn't like. I didn't like the call center. I quit my job to devote my time on this show, making this channel, and even before then, blogging and tweeting for like 3 years without making a dime. So do you know how bad it would be for the show to wrap up and the ending sucked? Do you know how mad I would be? Like, I would have to get a demonetized rant video because I know I'll be cussing up a storm if it ended and it sucked. Like, you know, like I said before, and I said this time and time again, like, I am not against the show coming to an end after season 7 due to the fact that I feel like, okay, the story's just all over the place, nothing's really lining up. If we get a conclusive ending where, like, nearly, and I said before I want them all, but I doubt it at this point, if nearly every major storyline was concluded and that was the end of that, I would be cool. Sure, I would like maybe the idea of a prequel series, but then the writing would have to be amazing continuity wise to make sense of stuff that happened years ago before the show started to line up with what the show actually did, or maybe even a haves and a have-nots movie. Anything along those lines would be great, or even a spin-off potentially, because we saw what they did with the Pains. But yeah, it would really suck if we got to the ending. If we had a great story in the beginning, got kind of shaky around season 3. Season 4 was when it was like, okay, what the hell's going on here? Season 5 in 2018 was kind of rocky start, got really good, was steady in the middle, had a semi-decent ending. And then we're in 2019 where so far it's been consistently good. There have been a couple episodes that I've been a bit, wary about, but for the most part, it's been an enjoyable ride so far. And then we get to the end of the show, and then and look, I know Jesus forgives sins. I mean, literally, that's why he died on the cross. But to just have everyone magically converted, and it's like, oh yeah, I forgive you, Jeffrey, forgive me. And it's like, okay, Jim and Catherine just be happy together. And then Hannah and Candace. I would hate for that to be rushed, because I feel like Tyler Perry rushes through a lot of things that need to be stretched out a bit more, but then he stretches out stuff that could easily be resolved within 1 to 2 episodes, or even one full conversation between characters. And I understand it. You have to fulfill your the obligations of your contract with OWN. People need to eat, so they need the jobs. But it just seems like, come on, man. These villains, it gets old. Like, how many, and I said this before, how many times are we going to end a season where Veronica's in an accident, falls off a balcony or whatever, and then it turns out, oh, she survived without a scratch on her. But then, like, the mid-season finale, for whatever reason, that's when you decide to permanently that is something I didn't notice until now. Typically the mid-season finale is where people get killed, but then, like, the actual finale is somebody looks like they're left for dead. Will they survive? And then they're up and at 'em within 1 or 2 episodes of the finale. It's kind of crazy to think about. And guys, like, once again, this is not me saying I hate the show. I review this for a living. I am a fan. I do not work for Tyler Perry Studios. I'm pretty sure if I work for Tyler Perry Studios and I talk like this on a YouTube channel, I would probably be fired. But at the same time, I love this show so much that I want it to be great. I don't want it to get better. I want it to be great. MAGA, Make America Great Again. Make okay, that's way too many syllables to do that. But you know what I mean. Make this show great again, It's just, I don't know. It's just, it's kind of like, in a random subject, but kind of like the whole Ariana Grande thing I've talked about, where she's like more popular than ever, it seems, and she's hitting all these records on YouTube, Spotify, Billboard charts, and it's like, I've heard way better songs from you than what's popular for you right now. And that's kind of where I feel with the haves and have-nots. Yes, it is still the #1 show on OWN, which is still great, but it's just hard to look at it that way, because we've seen this show in such a better quality than it is now. Yeah, I kind of feel like, I think Charles has grown on me as the show progressed, but I just feel like when we introduced a presidential elect candidate to be the new target / love interest for Candace, that's when I'm just like, okay, man, for real? Like, are we really going to this level? It was so much better when we were looking at city politics, so to speak, where you got judges. Sure, we had things escalating to potential governor levels, but then they got slapped down as soon as Celine was on the TV, as well as when everybody got arrested by Jennifer Salas. And there was just so many things that I wish would have stuck to the main storyline and we got resolution on. I would not have cared if the end of the series ended up around where maybe Jim or David made it to the governor's mansion. That would have been an interesting concept. Let's say David, when he said he would run on a separate ballot, let's say if he won the governor's mansion, what kind of jealousy would stem from those two, like David and Jim going at it, where it's like David finally achieved the level that Jim was going for, but at the same time it's like Maggie would be like, the devil on his shoulder, so to speak, like telling him the truth, to be honest, but kind of like all those regressed feelings, like David playing Jim's second fiddle all of his life and stuff, well, ever since those two have met. And that actually makes sense, where Jim is kind of like, the star player, getting all the accolades and fame, where David's pretty much been like his guard, like defense on the football field. Like, I really don't know sports, so I know my analogy probably didn't make sense. It would have made a lot of sense. Like, I love the show Benson. I actually got the first couple seasons in a dual pack at Walmart last month, and I watched the first 6 episodes. I'm like, damn, Benson reminds me of Hannah, so to speak. You got a white family in the governor's mansion. He just got hired and he helps the family out. And I'm like, yo, this actually is like the haves and have-nots. And I thought maybe Tyler Perry got inspiration from that show. But then the one thing about Benson that kept it great is the fact, like, it didn't overstep its boundaries. Like, we didn't see, like, you know, Benson in the White House or anything like that. Like, there was probably an episode where there was, but, you know, the governor's mansion for the most part is what I'm more familiar with. So to actually just see this show escalate from skeletons in the closet amongst these rich families to governor, and then Jim having connections with the Malones. Again, all stuff that took me by surprise. I feel like the moment this show reached a new level was that mid-season finale where the Malones abducted Candace while her and Jim were sitting in a park. That's when I felt like, oh shit, this stuff is getting dark now. But that wasn't a bad thing because the story kept getting better and better. But then we get to the point where Tyler Perry is working on all these other shows and movies, which again, I congratulate him on the success, and I hope nothing but the best for him in the future because Tyler Perry Studios is booming. But at the same time, that's when I began to notice certain things about the haves and the have-nots kind of dragging on, a repetitive dialogue more than ever before. All these new characters being introduced, even when you introduce Landon, Maggie Day, the Malones, Oscar, Erica, Warlock, they were all characters, and Mitch, they all were great characters because they had a relation to a main character already in the show and they kind of fit into the puzzle. But then you just like, I feel like Tyler Perry was like shaking a bit of salt and pepper into the bowl, but then the tops fell off and like whoosh, all of it poured out at once. So now we have 55 different characters who seemingly serve no purpose other than to fill the 42-minute runtime of an episode. So even for me, it's kind of like hard to figure out who's going to die next, what character is going to be arrested, who's going to end up stabbing who in the back. I understand it, the webbing, like when I say webbing, I mean like the strings of the different webs intertwined in one the strings, the storylines are the threads, and they're all intertwined into this one big picture, this web. It's always been like that, but I feel like what made the show great when it first started was the fact that every character had a role to play. Everyone had something to bring to the table. No scene truly felt wasted. We're at a point now where we have characters who have been on the show for like 5 years and they're still the same damn character they've been since season 1, or they just put into like a time loop where it's like the Ash Ketchum on Pokemon where he doesn't age. I feel like the same thing with these characters' personality. Wyatt's still the addict. Benny, after he got into that coma and woke up, he's been in a mental regression, kind of like Benjamin Button almost with his mental capacities. Well, then again, he got, more childlike as he got older or young. You know what I mean? So I really don't even know what to think at this point. It's really hard for me to even put into words. Guys, I love this show. I'm going to continue reviewing it because I love it. But yes, I feel like when I remember when I stopped the pains, I said I just stopped watching because it felt like a chore. We know Tyler Perry can and has done better work than what he's putting into this show. And I just felt bad every time I had to watch an episode, every time I had to review it, because I would spend, how long were those episodes? Like barely 20 minutes. I felt like my episode reviews like 23, 30 minutes of just me ranting about how the show is bad. I do not want the haves, and if the haves and the have-nots gets to that point, oh my God, I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know what to do. I mean, because I did watch Boomerang and American Soul on Sunday. Those were actually pretty damn good. And I do plan on doing a video recapping of those episodes. And I don't know, guys. Like I said before, I'm gonna stay the course. And like I said before, I'm so glad I didn't start this channel with the intention of getting Tyler Perry's attention, because I'm pretty sure videos like this would do nothing more than make him click off my channel, block it, and not even want to look at it again. But if you are watching Tyler Perry or any cast members of the show, I love this show so much. I want to see it get better. But like I said, Room 3 comes on in about 90 minutes. I could be eating my words around 10 o'clock after I watch the episode. But I don't know if I'm going to have this video up on the channel before the episode airs, because I'm going to make a very quick Kroger run because it is across the street. The snow isn't supposed to hit here until like 10:30 or 11 o'clock. Just a couple of things I need to pick up, park my car the way I like it. That way, if I do have to dig it out, then I can just pull out of the space. But thankfully, I went to the post office earlier today. I had like 33 packages to mail off for eBay sales. I got most of my groceries, cars filled up. So yeah, after I come in tonight, I don't need to go out, period, for an extended amount of time. So with that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Well, I know this kind of started off with the Tyler Perry doesn't know how to write a villain thing, but then it kind of morphed into my problems with the series now. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like I'm blessed to be able to do what I do for a living. Don't think I am diminishing that whatsoever, but I just feel like I lose a bit more faith in the show whenever I see a clip or whatnot, and it's just like, oh wait, are these characters like going back to something from season 3? And you know how I'm like an Easter egg continuity junkie, where if like when Wyatt mentioned Catherine's cancer from season 1, I lost it. But I'm talking about these characters bit my tongue, regressing to who they were like a couple of seasons ago. It's just not good. I just need some development. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm sorry if this was like a negative kind of video and this isn't what you usually hear from me on the channel, but subscribe if you agree with what I said, because like I said before, this is a review channel, and that means I do it thoroughly. I don't sugarcoat anything regarding the show. I love it, but we all know that it has been better. We've seen better, and we deserve better. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, as well as leaving your thoughts in the comment section below so we can keep the conversation going. On the left hand side of the screen, you should see a picture of Jeffrey Harrington. You can click on him in order to subscribe, but also hit the bell notification icon. That way you don't miss out on any new content. Also, you should see some videos appearing on the screen as well that I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy if you enjoyed the one you just saw. But also, be sure to follow me on social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links to all my social media will be in the description below. And in order to help this channel hit 100,000 subscribers, I'm going to need your help. So make sure to share this video as well as the channel around with all of your friends on your own social media. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in the next video.